How do you overcome the fear of failure? Well, watch today because I'm going to give you 3 tips on this. Welcome back to my channel, The Self-Esteem and Confidence Mindset, with me, Johnny Pardo, here to help you boost your self-esteem and confidence. If you want a variety of videos on self-esteem and confidence, then be sure to subscribe to my channel or hit the bell to be notified when I release a new video every Tuesday and Thursday. I get this question a lot on social media, people reaching out to me, or this kind of discussion with clients as well, and when I'm coaching. How do I overcome the fear of failure? Well, what it is it's your brain trying to keep you safe. Our brain doesn't want us to do things that are uncomfortable or risky. It's just a defense mechanism. It's just designed to keep you safe. So therefore, when it sees things that might not go right, it tries to keep you away. The problem is, people stop doing things because they're scared of failing. However, or failing in inverted commas. However, we can't progress unless we actually try things. But sometimes we're so paralyzed by our fear. So I'm going to go into my 3 tips now. So my first point is the circle of influence and circle of concern. I've talked about this in a previous video and episode. It's from the book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey, where this model looks at what we can control and what we can't control. So the circle of influence are things we can control or influence, and the circle of concern are things we can't control. So examples of the influence include our actions, our decisions, our responses to setbacks, how we respond to other people, what we do in our days, ourselves. The circle of concern are things like the weather, what other people say about us, how other people treat us. Coronavirus would be an example of the circle of concerns, things we can't control. So it's really good practice to draw up your own. When you're going for something, what can you control, what can you influence, but what can't you? And then just think about the effort you can put in and remind yourself of this every single day, because there are certain things outside of your control, but there's no point worrying about them. But when you go back to this model and look at it over and over again, it's going to make you more comfortable with what you can actually control rather than things you can't. Tip number 2 is your why. I love talking about your why because it's so important. Now, if someone came to you and said, I'm going to put you and your family in prison if you don't make £1 million next year, you probably have a pretty good incentive to try and get £1 million, and you probably get there because you've got a really big driver. You wouldn't worry so much about this fear of failure, right? Well, that's what you need to do with your other why. Now, it's not going to be you're going to be put in prison, but you need to have a really big driver. Who's going to benefit around you for going towards what you want? What are you going to get out of it? Why is it really important to you? Because half the time we don't understand why something's really important to us, and therefore we don't really put the effort in, and the fear gets in the way. But having a real strong why is going to drive you even more forward. And if you want to go a step further, think about what will happen if you don't get there, if you don't change your behavior. And then you've got 2 things that are going to drive you even further. So what are you going to get? Why is it important? And then what's going to happen to your life? Are you going to stay the same? Are you going to stay in the same position which you're not happy with for the rest of your life? Just think about those things. Think about your drivers, because that's really going to help you go through that fear of failure as well. My question for you today is, what is the fear of failure stop you from doing? It'd be really valuable to know what yours is, because then we can share with other people and people don't feel so alone. So comment in the comments what fear of failure has stopped you from doing in the past. And my final tip is the 5-second rule from the book, The 5-Second Rule by Mel Robbins. And this is that this is more about doing something in the moment or doing something quickly, but when we count down from 5, it allows the logical part of our brain to come in, the prefrontal cortex, to do something before the habit of the survival brain starts kicking in and saying, don't do that, don't do that. And the fear starts kicking in. So countdown from 5 can be really effective. Don't count up to 5, it doesn't work that way. You need to go, right, okay, I'm going to talk to so-and-so, but I'm really nervous and I'm really worried about what could go wrong here. But okay, I'm going to go and talk, I'm going to go to so-and-so's desk and talk to her. Probably not so much in the coronavirus, but this is an example. So you go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello, Jeff, or whoever you're talking to. Hello, Debbie, or whoever you're talking to. And that's a really good trick for doing many things. Or if you want to send that message you're really nervous about, write it. Have it in front of you. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, send. There you go. And that allows the logic within you to do something before this fear starts appearing. So that's my third tip. Use the 5-second rule. It's also a great book to read if you want to look it up. It's on Amazon. The 5-second rule by Mel Robbins. To wrap up today, what I also want to say is we sometimes hold ourselves off because we want to be certain in something. But as I've talked about in a previous episode, we can't be certain about anything. Even pre-COVID times, we can't be certain about anything. We're just in, quite a weird time at the moment with this pandemic. But even before this, we can't be certain about anything in life. Anything could happen. But if you don't take action, good things are not going to happen. You're not going to change. Your life is not going to change. You're not going to go towards where you want to unless you take action. If you're paralyzed by fear, break it down. But use what I've talked about today and use those tips into your life so you can work through that fear a little bit more. Think about your why. Think about the 5-second rule. Think about what you can do to keep moving through that fear, because it's a perfectly natural feeling, but we've just got to move through it. We can't overcome it unless we actually go through it. If you are really struggling with fear in a particular area and you really just don't know what to do, you don't know what action steps to take and it's been stopping you for a while, then drop me an email, coaching@johnnypardo.com, and we can have a look at whether some one-to-one coaching could benefit you. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you very much for watching today. If you've enjoyed the video, be sure to give it a like. And if you want more videos like this, then you can subscribe to my channel as well. Remember, never skip Self-Esteem Day. I appreciate you, and I'll catch you in my next episode.